Welcome back, friends of Strategic Gaming. I'm the educational gamer, and we are playing Strategic Command. So, we are going to look at the Eastern Front in a second and what the Axis is going to do in the November turn. So it's going to turn over to 20th of November, so I expect there would be a lot of snowfall at that point. But before we do that, let's move actually up some of our aircraft into Norway over here, because I want to move them up to Trondheim in the long term. So that we have some supply over here and can start to take a little bit more of an aggressive stance in Norway itself. So, on the Eastern Front, we are expecting the Germans to push up, probably even in winter. The front line over here seems to be a little bit stable, although they are pushing, they are outflanking us, they have crossed the river, they have captured Riga. They are going beyond our forts, so that is a little bit unfortunate actually, but all in all I think it might hold out over here. There's probably going to be another push down here and some of these cores might fall, but we'll have to see. I'm a little bit more worried in the south. There are some exposed positions like this core and especially like the 8th Corps up here in Sutomir, which is already surrounded by quite a number of Germans actually, so we'll have to see whether that turns out any good for us. We are of course also concerned about the campaign in the Guadalcanal, so in the Solomon Islands around Guadalcanal. We do have some Marines over here, some Rangers, and the Kanga Special Force from Australia trying to capture this. We do know about at least this Japanese carrier and 2 submarines that are lurking in these waters over here, whereas we mostly actually have heavy battleships and carriers, so we'll have to see whether we'll be jumped on by some of these by some of these Japanese, I think I keep on making that mistake, by some of these Japanese enemies. So, I'm also still waiting for this event that we had in North America after we landed here to have any effect. But let's see what the Axis is going to do. I'm going to zoom in just so that we can see a little bit more what's going on. I'm going to take the turn and see what's going on. So yeah, we are blockading Brest, we are also blockading Bordeaux. That's reducing their income just a little bit. Ooh, we are pushing Venezuela to the Allies. That's nice to see, especially if that's a Chinese thing. That's good to know. US develops longer range aircraft and armor level 1, and that should be it. Okay income for the USSR. UK income pretty okay actually, and the US income pretty decent actually, so yeah. All in all that seems to be fine. I guess we'll be turning over to calculating the supply for the Axis and see what's gonna go out over here. So, these troops land in North Africa? Indeed we did. So is there some uprising? Will we get any support? Seems to be a sandstorm now. Some reinforcements on the Japanese side. These guys probably withdrawing to their bases. Yeah, lots of rain on the Eastern Front, even some snow. But for now, the terrain itself shouldn't be too bad. Some transports over here, but no attacks yet. Aha, so we knew now the destroyer is in Truk. Some air battles around Java. Yeah, attacks this and that way, but nothing too big. Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought they would withdraw these forces. Ooh, strong attack down here in Odessa. Close to Odessa, actually. We might lose this army. This corps is exposed. Yeah, they're actually making a lot of big impression over there. If they can move these guys out, we'll probably lose a little bit. Very nice. Good defense against these heavy tanks. That's extremely good for us. Yeah, so far the front line is holding out. And it's actually okay that they attack this corps, because that means the guys in Sutomir have a much higher chance of actually holding the ground over there. Yeah, so far the Eastern Front in particular seems to be holding out pretty nicely. Yeah, they are bringing in new forces, but they can't seem to break us. At least not in the same extent they were able to do that before. The special forces. Ooh, defensive artillery. That is nice to see. More defensive artillery. Yeah, that should also give them a morale reduction, which is nice. And interesting that they didn't try to step up over there and attack my artillery. Not so good going over here, but still holding out somewhat. These tanks are withdrawing deep into the prepared marshes. I'm not sure that's a good idea for them. Ooh, was that a cavalry corps? I think so. Just a box with one line through it should be cavalry. Right. So yeah, pretty happy about this this turn of events from the Axis. They seem to be losing out a little bit their steam, so that's good to see. Also reducing their income by a lot, so that is always good to see. So it should now be, I guess, 4th of December 1942, and it's the turn of the Allies. So let's see what's going to happen on the Eastern Front. I think we mostly have to... Yes, we land, there's some blockades, and we are reducing their income by quite a bit. So let's get some intel. That's not a lot of intel. Right, okay, so let's start out on the Soviet front. So this army down here, morale is really, really low. I should ideally try to replace you by someone else, but I don't think we have any reserves over here. This corps is actually doing pretty well, but it can't get all the way down there, so actually the best thing might be to just reinforce these guys in place. Over here you really need a reinforcement as well, my friend. You really need to be circled out, but we can't do that. We don't have the troops to do that. Well, we have this army, but likewise, just look at the readiness and morale down here. Who are you actually controlling? We're controlling these guys, that's okay. Yeah, everything else up here seems to be fine, so it's mostly about reinforcing these units that took some losses. I think we can reinforce these mechanized forces over there. These tanks we could withdraw. We could also try to launch an attack and do some funny maneuvers around here. But for now I'm actually pretty fine. Although just cycling you in wouldn't be bad either. So that the tanks do have some room. On the other hand, we might just reinforce you for now. And that should be fine. Tactical bombers could fly, that's interesting to see. Could even do some damage on some of these guys, but yeah, well, let's launch some attacks just to reduce their readiness and morale a little bit. Won't do much good for us, but still good. Okay, so yeah, all in all, I think we are fine over here. This really, really strong army can potentially damage this German corps. Should not have received any counterfire, but it did. These engineers are busy building up this area. You need to really recover your morale. And you know what, we are going to bring these guys down so that at some point they'll be able to circle out the group over there. And then I'm somewhat happy with the situation down here. Good. In the north, we were pushed up in the extreme north up here just a little bit more than I would have liked to see. Maybe. Can we do some counterattacks first? We can. They're mostly not that decisive or even slightly detrimental towards us. Very happy about how this line has held out over here. Pretty much taking no damage whatsoever. So that is good to see. Whom are you guarding? You know what, can we simplify that a little bit? Can we ask you to be properties, set mode, sorry, just be manual, be fully manual. And then we'll ask you to detach these guys. Gonna attach the army over there. and gonna attach this army. And gonna detach the garrison, of course. So we can attach 6 groups. So yeah. So you're really responsible for the north as such. Your readiness and morale is okay. Yours is horrible, yours is horrible. Yeah, so the situation really is how do we replace these guys? I think the answer is probably gonna pull in our special forces. There's not much we can do to reinforce both of these positions though. So it might be that we simply have to reinforce this core. This army down here is pretty much fine, so I'm gonna simply reinforce it. These paratroopers should be reinforced. This army needs to be reinforced. You guys are actually sort of okay. Wait a minute, so you are guarding all of these, so I should also ask you to be manual. Detach you. You're up until there, so you know what, you have this entire front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Ah, the fighters. Okay, so yeah, that I'm happy with. And then that does leave these guys. Let's draw you just a little bit. And you are, my friend, should also be purely manual. Detach the garrison, detach the garrison. You're guarding these, you're guarding these. Okay, so I guess what I could do is detach you and attach you. Then you're gonna get these guys. You're also gonna get the heavy tanks. And this reserve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's go for the fighters. Really? Oh no, we got these fighters down here. Yeah, let's detach these, let's attach these. And these fighters can be reinforced definitively. Can you? Yeah, you can. We don't have that many points, so let's be slightly careful with that though. Yeah, the situation really is only difficult up here in the north. So you are really entrenched, so I really don't want to move you just like that without any need. We've got the special forces. You can move up. You just can't quite get there, so okay, gotta move up the special forces. Gonna reinforce the army over here because it is out of the line of fire already. We could force march you. It might simply be easier to bring up reinforcements like that. Reinforce you a little bit like such. And that should be lovely. So yeah, we do have some heavy tanks over here, but I'm not gonna take the chance to just do that attack like such. Because that would, I feel, be a little bit too aggressive. So I think the... Oh, wait a minute. We've got this cavalry corps. You could attack over here and attack these tactical bombers. Then can you withdraw? No, you cannot. You only have 4 action points. So what if we take these guys out first? That should reduce their zone of control. Of course we lose more than expected. Can you attack? You can. For one-on-one. Would be really nice to do something funny over here. And these guys are pretty depleted, so you know what, let's go for this. Actually very good result. So it's really limping along over there. What can we bring up? We could switch these 2 guys. That would reduce the entrenchment. Still, I doubt that these heavy tanks are gonna attack. They are not really... I mean, they're only half strength, so... Okay, let's... Where's this 2 action points? Oh, it's because of the mud. And this is not a paved road? Right. Yeah, so how would I switch these guys out? I could, of course, just shift click, but that wouldn't be great. I could move up the cavalry, but I wouldn't really want to do that, just like that. So I really need to move out the AA first. But then will I be able to move it back? I will not, but that's okay, so... Oh, you can't get there. These are all just 2 movements, and you only have 4. So I could only bring in the cavalry. Tactical bombers are grounded due to the weather. Heavy tanks don't reach down there. And the AA has an action point left, but that's not enough. Damn it, I would really like to kill these guys. I could swap out these 2, but again it would reduce their morale by so much that, you know what, I don't think it's worth it. So let's keep it as it is. Reinforce that garrison over there. That doesn't leave too many points for the Soviets, just 42, but we might also have some new units. Yeah, another corps. So let's look at the situation down here. I'm a little bit worried about this tank. Not too much, but a little bit. And they keep on pushing us over here, and we don't really have the reserves to swap out everyone that we want to swap out. So I might place you in over here so that this tank can get freed up and be more defensive in other positions. Could also think that it might be useful over here just to have some reserves. I mean, they are still going strong. Lastly, I would imagine that a push over here that would cut us off like that would not necessarily be the greatest for us. So we need to push up against these tanks a little bit. I mean, what's this situation over here in terms of supply? I don't know exactly, but it should probably be 5. You know what, let's be a little bit conservative over here. Place a core over here and that should be fine. Good, that does about settle the situation for the USSR. I don't think there's anything in terms of research that we are going to immediately get. AA defenses are going to be extremely useful. Command and control is going to be extremely useful. But for now I actually think just reinforcing these fighters with the points that we do have left is the best thing that we can do. Supply situation of our naval forces is okay. Of these destroyers at any rate. So, yeah. Happy about this result. Well, I guess what we could do actually is blockade this port over here. Because why not? Good. Yeah, the Soviet Union so far holding out pretty well, I have to say. Can you attack? No, you don't have any strikes, so we did that already. Good, yeah, we do have some reserves over here. These tanks at some point really need to be switched out. But I guess that we will be able to do so at some point. Good, I don't think there's anything over here that we can reinforce. Yeah, and even if we could, we don't really have the points to do so, so that's fine. These Germans will need to... I doubt that there's going to be a too big attack on this front. Over here, I'm pretty sure that they will keep on pushing. Especially against the 16th Rifle Corps, because the morale and readiness is so low. But some of the other guys are getting a little bit of a break and holding out pretty decently actually. So I am pretty happy actually about the overall result. Well, I guess we can bring up the fighters a little bit more. And bring up here. That's fine. You're not set to any funny mode. No, you're set to auto. You likewise are set to auto. Yeah, good. Perfect, actually. So, yeah, maybe these tactical bombers. Maybe what we're going to do is fly you over here towards the north so that we at least have both of our tactical bombers in the same vicinity. so that they can be a little bit more concentrated. So far they haven't helped us out tremendously, because we just don't have the asset priority to use them really well, but I'm hopeful that we are slowly but surely pushing the Germans back. But make no mistake, I mean, the Germans, if we look at MPPs over here, you can see that the Germans actually lost forces of about not too much, so mostly 500 in early spring, then maybe during the summer 700-800. Let's say 800, 500, 800. It's dropping down very dramatically actually, so that's not so much. And you can see for the Soviet Union it's still spiking up pretty high, much higher than 500 points. And on the income level we are earning about 700. How about the Germans? Yeah, 600-ish, so closely matched. But what really needs to happen is opening more fronts against the Axis, and that is happening down here in Africa. So we are trying to push through North Africa so that we can land up some of these American troops in Italy. Likewise, we are striking on Norway, but I do think that in 1943 we will see an Allied landing on the continent. So very excited to see that, very excited to see our preparations for that, and I do think actually Japan is going to fall pretty quickly. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.